Okay. Hello. Sorry, just waiting for the live thing to come on so we knew we were here. We're here. We're here. I'm here.
I am there. Hello.
Okay, so welcome to the live after service. If you see this and you want to log on and you've got some questions, or you were listening to the preach, or if you weren't and you want to know what we were talking about today, then now is your chance. I was not listening. I was listening a little bit today. I was out doing junior church, so I know just in our conversations you were talking about missing the mark, kind
Sort
of.
Yeah.
Whoa, Tammy's way off, driven by your face. So do you want to just kind of, there was darts involved.
There was, and the video didn't work, so I had to do a demonstration of how you dart. I think next time I'll just do a live demonstration, get the, put an hockey up here and put the dartboard behind, and only those who can hit boards can throw.
Okay, so do you want to just give me a little bit of a lowdown of what was the point, what you were saying?
What was the point? I don't know, what was my point? What's the point? So what I was talking about was that adjustment. So I tried to show a video of John Lowe playing darts. If you don't know who that is, John Lowe was an English darts player. No, we're not. We're in that camera. You're looking at the wrong one. So, and it was a video of him throwing darts. Now, normally, if you're doing your scores, you look aiming at the treble 20s to try and hit a 180 or whatever you want to get the highest score you can. And he was throwing his darts. His first dart went in the treble 20, but it obscured the treble a little bit. So he moved to another angle and then threw a dart, hit another treble 20, and then moved again because it had really obscured. He had to go around the other side, and he threw, and he got 180. 180, and it was a really good throw. And you don't always want to move, but sometimes you need to move when something's obscured. It's like I said this morning, rugby. Only using sports that I played. So rugby, and you're running forward with the ball, and someone's in your way. Now, normally, if someone ain't in your way, you just run straight. But if someone's in your way, you need to move. You need to move your feet, adjust your run. It's the same as if I'm watching TV and one of the kids want to talk to me, what they do is come and stand, or they're talking to Tammy, they'll come and stand in the front of the TV. And I always say you make a better door than a window because I can't see through a door.
The aim is that you actually stop doing, and that's probably not the best illustration.
No, it is a good illustration. Or if one of us are hoovering, apart from them turning up the TV, what they do is this. Try and look round us to see the TV. So what they're doing at that moment is adjusting. Maybe, as I was saying today, we need to adjust our attitude or our mindset or whatever, because I was talking about Luke 5, 1 to 11, which includes Jesus talking to a load of people from a boat and a great big catch of fish and adjustment. So Peter had been out all night fishing with his partners in their boat, and they'd caught nothing. Jesus comes along, they're washing the nets, they're done for the day. Jesus comes along, gets in the boat, says, "Can you take me just a little bit offshore so I can talk to these people?" Peter says yes, because Peter already had, he'd met Jesus already when Jesus in chapter 4, 38, 39 healed Peter's mother-in-law. So he then says, yeah, go for it. Now, he could have said, when Jesus asked him to put out his nets after he'd taught people, he could have said, well, I'm a fisherman, you're a carpenter. What do you know about fishing? The fish come out of the night, that's why we fish of a night instead of day, and you want me to go out. He didn't do any of that. He said, we've been out all night and caught nothing, but because of your word, I will do that, basically.
Cool. I mean, I don't know if... I'm not. There we go. I don't know if I'm going off mark here then. in relating that a little bit to what we were talking about in junior church with the 12 spies who went out and scouted the land, and Joshua and Caleb are there, and you have, they all see the same thing. They've all received the same promise, the same vision that God's going to give them the land. This is the promise. 10 see, they all see the same thing, but 10 perceive it as a fearful, we can never do this thingy, and just 2 go, no, we go, no, we can, and that cost them another 40 years in the desert, and everything else.
And that was part of what I said, was that actually, if I'm not going to do it that way because I've always done it this way, but sometimes we've always done something the same way, and yet we're still missing the mark. We're still missing the target that we're aiming for, but we won't move because our method has become a methodology, an idol. I can't even speak right. An idol to coffee. But that's, yeah.
Okay, so let's get personal then. Because quite often, as leaders, you can look at other leaders and go, "Oh, they've not done that right. We're going to do it this way." And or maybe when you've been coming up, you've done things, or you've had ideas, and perhaps they've not been taken the right way because they're different, or they're something that God's put in your heart, and perhaps lack of trust in other people means you've not been able to. People haven't seen that vision. How do you then stay open in pursuing what God's called you to do? That wasn't very clear. What I mean is, what if we hand over our church to the next person, and they have the same, we want them to have the same vision. We're not thinking of giving up the church at the moment, but
it's not even in our heads.
No, I know, but that's why I said.
But no, you said at the moment.
Well, obviously,
yeah.
but that's not something that's doing. But that's something that I think of, and that's probably the hardest thing to imagine change or different.
So basically, I was saying that so one of the points I was talking about was in that thing of having to change our setting, change our mindset, change our footwork, change whatever it is to adjust ourselves so that we don't miss out on the things of God. So if Peter would have said any of the other stuff I said a minute ago, like, well, I'm a fisherman, you're a carpenter, what do you know? I'm not doing that. We've worked all night, the nets are away, I'm done, I'm tired. He would have missed out on an awesome catch of fish, actually, which they all walked away from at the end of the day as well, when Jesus said, come with me, I'll make you fishermen men. So, where was I? Yes. So, Craig Groeschel, who's a great man, he leads Life Church in America. They're the people who invented YouVersion and give it away for free. He does a leadership podcast once a month. And he once said that if someone does something 50% as good as you as a leader, and someone does it 50% as good as you, give them a go. Let them do it. Doesn't mean you just, way off you go, free reign. But you can still go, come back, let's have a chat, go. Come back, go. Keep going, keep going, keep going, till in the end they're soaring. So that is really the way to do it.
Yeah, I think...
as long as it goes in with the vision of what the church is,
obviously, and I think that's the key, isn't it? Is that we have to be. So the focus has to be Jesus, has to be what He's calling us to do, has to be what His word says, and I think then you have to be completely open and live everything. And we talk about this a lot, don't we, about living open-handedly, of going, do you know what? As long as we see Him, how we get there can be very... the calling that He has for us, so He's called us to do something, that's the vision, that's the mark, and things might get in the way of that. We might attempt something that might get in the way, and the temptation would be to stay and doing the same way, or to give up. Yeah? Well,
yeah. I was saying that just because something, which we've talked about, just because something might work in a city, in America or in UK or somewhere else in the world, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work here in Boston. Just because we do something well or do something and it works, doesn't mean that our church in Kenya has to do the same thing, because they're in a completely different setting. You know, that's...
And I guess even if it's something's worked here, it doesn't mean it's always going to work in the same way.
Yeah, because otherwise the method becomes... I've always prayed that way. I've always... leave that and you'll be all right.
Sorry.
I've always prayed that way. I've always said it that way. I've always done it that way. I was saying about when I was speaking that when we first met and something would happen, I would say, that's just the way I am. And I said that for quite a while. That is just the way I am. But actually...
Wow, did you say that today?
No, I talked about that today. I said that obviously you played your part in that. Jesus was the one who actually changed me, but you did have a good side on roughing my rough edges, smoothing my rough edges, not roughing my rough edges, smoothing my rough edges. But I was saying that that's only through Jesus. That can only happen through Jesus. And I was saying about what I was looking at this morning when we was at home, when I was just adding a couple of bits to today, and just saying that, Jesus does say, come as you are. But the problem is we get stuck. Well, Jesus says I should come as I am. So that means he wants me as I am. And that's it. And we get stuck there. The problem is what we miss out on is the rest of what he's actually saying to us within different kinds of verses, not exactly these words, but what he's saying is, come as you are, but I love you so much, I'm not going to leave you in that way. Actually, I have a better plan for you. I have a better you to come out of who you are. I have a destiny that's better than what you think. I have a plan, everything better for your life than what you could possibly do on your own. So, yeah.
I think the beauty of you using Luke and the whole account of Peter and having a whole useless night of fishing, and then Jesus saying, just do it the other side. So close to what he already knew. Yeah. Yet so far because he thought he knew it all and he had done it all already. And so far out of his of Peter's vision, in that sense of going, I've tried everything. Almost the thing that was most natural to him, which was fishing, became the impossible task. And God calls us, I think, and we sometimes try everything, and it can put us off and almost make us think like that's perhaps not our calling, perhaps that's not what we're meant to do, perhaps we're destined to something completely different. And someone can encourage us, God can speak to us about something very simple changes. And it's just like, well, that's, sometimes we're looking for something a little bit too radical to change our situation, when sometimes it's just those subtle differences. And I think this is where we need to drown out our own doubts, our own fears, our own view of the situation, and lean in and listen to his still small voice. And sometimes, as you say, it's those subtle changes. For Peter, it was just switch sides. It was actually just being obedient to God's voice in what he was doing. With the darts, it's a slight movement to the side. So actually, and then that slight movement, suddenly a whole new vision of the target comes up, a whole new way, which if you'd stayed still would not be seen. So got distracted by your daughter then. I was going to pull her up, see if she wanted to do her preach, but I don't think she's got it on her.
Oh yeah, I meant to get her to do a bit of that this morning. So
I'll jump in and just, I think we're not going to be on here for much longer. I don't think. It's awesome. I love it that you guys have joined us. If you've got any comments or anything you want to say, then please jump in. That would be really awesome. But otherwise, just want to really encourage you. And it was. Do you want me to stop so you can say?
Yeah, Can I just jump in? You can finish off. So, so as I said last week, you know, the what Peter did in saying to Jesus, "We'll do it, no matter that I'm tired, no matter that we haven't got anything," was that he moved towards God. And the thing is, so often we move away from God. So just looking at the thief on the cross. Now, there was 3 men on a cross, 2 were criminals and deserved to be there. 1 chose to be there to pay for all our sin. And none of them could move physically on the cross because they were nailed there. But 1 mocked God and moved spiritually away from him. Said, I want no part of that in one sense, by mocking God, and moved away. The other one moved towards God by recognising who Jesus was, telling the other guy you shouldn't mock God, don't you know what you're doing? And Jesus says to him, today you will be me in paradise. So that means it's not always a significant move that we have to make. Sometimes it's a minor adjustment to be in the things of God. And so what I was saying was that God swooped down in the form of Jesus, and not to come and go, oh, hello, how's everyone doing? You okay down there? But he actually got down with us, in with us, at our level, became one of us, and out of that rescued us, because that was the only way it could happen, by going on the cross. So the adjustment that God made, it's just that's the far-reaching thing. All we have to do is say yes. And I said this last week. All we have to do is say yes. Get over ourselves sometimes. Get over ourselves. Get over our thoughts. Get over our ways. Get over what we think is true. And understand what is true, that God came to rescue us. Because we stuffed up, and we're still stuffing up today.
Yeah, and I think just to leave...
It's working.
Yeah, no, just to leave us today is just that understanding of God's faithfulness. It was no joke or no trick or coincidence that when we came back in talking to the kids about God being faithful and that he'll never break his promise, that we're all singing here about God's faithfulness. And actually we can get so busy with our doing and so busy with we had a great time with God who's given us some vision, and then we suddenly just go off and try and do it without having that close connectivity to him in those still quiet moments. And so I think just in that realigning ourselves with God enables him to put us in the right position, to maneuver us, to keep going, whatever has come in our way to obscure our view. Maybe there's been hopes and dreams and things that God's put in your heart that things have come in the way and have kind of obscured your view of what God has called you or what God has promised, and maybe that disappointment and stuff has got in the way. And I just want to encourage you guys that actually, take a moment, take many moments, as many moments as you can, and actually cultivate doing that regularly, that actually that's your first, that you get in his presence and you allow him to position you and maneuver you around whatever may obscure your view. And most of the time we'll find it's ourselves that are getting in the way anyway.
You're so wise.
I'm so tired. Let's go. I'm going to go. You can sit
You're going to go.
If you want.
We're going to go. So I'm going to let Tammy go off to the machine and turn us off air. Might as well put that back over there. Awesome. Guys, bless you. Have an awesome week. Don't forget to get on next Sunday when we go a bit further. And Emma will be looking at work from rest, not rest from work. So awesome. Yeah. See you next week. Bless you guys.